警察逮捕了一名醉驾的女少尉，不料她竟刚刚被轮奸。尽管浑身是伤，可面对警察的问询，她却不愿意承认，只要求尽快回到部队，以免造成缺勤。但警察还是强制对她做了体检。
Severe vaginal and rectal trauma, torn perineal tissue, swollen larynx, possibly from a chokehold, abrasions on her back and buttocks.
More than one person?
I think so.
既然已经被证实了，莉亚也就只能开口承认了，表示昨晚我和战友们到一家酒吧狂欢，喝到深夜后他们先回去了。至于最后是怎么被强奸的，我也记不清了，毕竟喝得太多了。随后根据莉亚的供述，警察先来到部队驻地，分别对莉亚的3个战友进行了问询，结果3人的回答基本一致。昨晚我们都提前离开了，只剩他一人留在酒吧，并不知道凶手是谁。而莉亚的长官更是为此感到恶心，他是莉亚的将军父亲带出来的兵，本来为了照顾莉亚就担了很大责任，现在他又出了这种事，这会直接影响到莉亚的前途。
She was publicly intoxicated. She was arrested for DUI. She's supposed to be with a buddy at all times off base. All this shows very poor judgment on her part.
没想到莉亚都被轮了，长官不仅不维护，还把她当作了耻辱。而其他人也发现，整个军队对女性很是不欢迎，战友们都指责莉亚醉酒好斗。唯一有用的信息就是莉亚是最后一个离开酒吧的，因此警察又来到了酒吧调查。但据2名厨师供述，我俩都关门下班走了，可莉亚还在店里，所以后来发生了什么谁也不知道。没办法，警察只能又来找莉亚了，希望她再好好回忆一下。哪知莉亚却自暴自弃，不想再追究下去了。但警察已经怀疑是战友作案了。 当即质问是不是他们。起初莉亚还不断否认，可警察就是不依不饶追问。终于莉亚说漏了嘴，被警察抓住了画笔，顿时她绷不住了。
We were just dancing closely.
And?
Lipid started kissing me and Wooten put his hand up my skirt.
Did they rape you?
I'm gonna get dishonorably discharged. I'm gonna let my family down, my father.
原来是为了家族荣誉不被蒙羞，莉亚才死不开口的。
I should have just taken it. I should have let them do what they did to me, and I should have just shut up.
显然军装已蒙上阴影，正义已被荣誉绑架。然而警察就是为了伸张正义而生，最终还是说服莉亚说出了真相。她确实是被3人灌醉后拖到公园侵害的，而这也证实了一个传说：在军方，女性军官遭受性侵的事并不少见，但大多都被掩盖了。她们要么选择沉默，要么被威胁封口，没人敢站出来反抗。可既然警方接了这个案子，大队长立即指示传唤他们一查到底。就这样，3人被带到了派出所。只是没想到小黑第一个就招了，并且还坦白使用了安全套。
That's one down.
永强开始却是嘴硬得很，打死也不承认。但在警察拿出法院开具的 DNA 检测令后，立马就怂了，也坦白了和莉亚发生过关系。不过2人全都强调是莉亚主动投怀送抱的，根本不给他们拒绝的机会。
That's 2 down.
而第3人玉田则声称既没有侵犯莉亚，也没有和她发生关系。
I held her hands behind her. While she did them, she wanted that.
可是本森根本不信，理由是莉亚体内有2个人的体液，其中一个是永强的，而小黑戴了套，所以不是他的。那另一个肯定就是玉田的了。所以只要等待比对结果出来后，就可以拆穿他的谎言了。然而令人没想到的是，意外就在这时发生了。军事法庭突然来人，以莫须有的罪名将莉亚逮捕了。这明显就是部队想掩盖自身的罪恶。
Coast Guard prosecutes Amelia and undercuts our prosecution of her rapists.
So, what's gonna happen with Amelia?
An Article 32 hearing.
It's the military's version of grand jury, except there are no boundaries. They can ask her anything they want.
而很快 DNA 比对结果也出来了，一个确定是永强的。
He claims it's consensual, no surprise. The other hit?
Well, here's where it gets interesting. Doesn't match Lipid.
He did say he wore a condom.
Graber. He told me he was just holding her arms back. He was lying, it's his.
哪知却被否定了。静野和玉田的不符，应该还有第4个人在场，当然不排除有陌生人随机作案，这可是个重大发现。随后警方立马再次审问了3人，但小黑和永强都表示不知道第4人，甚至恶意误导是莉亚自己又去找了别人。但只有玉田说，就算我知道也不会告诉你。据此，警方分析玉田并没有否认第4人的存在，他们可能是在保护什么人。看来最终的答案还得问莉亚本人，可莉亚也是闭口不言。好在大队长提前有准备，将他的父亲请了过来。然而面对老父亲的询问，起初莉亚也不说，直到老人要为了他拼命，莉亚才艰难开了口。
It's my CO. Oh God, he's been trying to sleep with me since I got here. He said that I needed his help if I wanted to get ahead.
And you said no.
I did not like that. He said that no one says no to a commanding officer, especially a woman.
此时老头的心都碎了，女儿真是受苦了。既然凶手已全部找到了，那接下来就是开庭起诉了。首先，莉亚承认自己当时没有喊不，但却抵抗过。而为了证实莉亚的行为合理，检察官出示了证据，是一本军队发放的防性侵手册，里面清楚的规定
：During sexual assault, it may be advisable to submit rather than resist.
所以莉亚的不反抗其实是在遵守军事准则，可对方的律师却抓住当晚莉亚醉酒、酒驾甚至被捕，这些明显违背军事准则的事为理由，质问你为什么在发生关系时反而想起遵守了。
Is it possible that you didn't say no because you were enjoying yourself. You didn't say no because you didn't want it to stop.
I did want it to stop.
Then why didn't you tell the police that these men had raped you?
I was afraid that they would go after me.
Not because you yourself were in trouble. Being drunk, missing your curfew.
No.
Isn't that exactly why you accused these junior officers? To escape punishment for yourself?
No. They raped me.
莉亚咬死了不松口，这才堪堪逼退了律师，可也是凶险万分。不过当晚尼克就搞来了内部消息，是关于军队听证会的内容。他认为玉田是个突破口，于是警察立马又来审问了玉田，看得出他也受过创伤，因为警察早就发现玉田有抖手的毛病，以己夺人，希望他不要放任莉亚被这么伤害。最后经过一番艰难挣扎后，玉田终于决定为莉亚作证了。其实这一切都是长官设计好的，为了给莉亚一个教训，让她尊重自己的长官。而经过就是先是长官侵犯了莉亚，然后是小黑和永强，两人一前一后。
She was crying. They called her whore and slut. Then they turned her over and took turns raping her again.
What did you do during all this?
I pinned her arms behind her.
Why did you participate?
I'm gay, and Lieutenant Commander Taverts knew that. If I didn't go along, he'd tell everyone. Officially, that's okay. But I felt that I couldn't survive being outed. I'm so sorry, Albers.
至此总算是真相大白了。最后陪审团做出了裁决，结果小黑、永强等三人全部被判了1级强奸罪，正义最终还是没有缺席。而这不只是一起性侵案件，更是对军方正义的深刻拷问。军装象征着荣誉与责任，但有些人为了维护表面的光鲜，却刻意掩盖内部的罪恶，将受害者的痛苦当作牺牲品。然而无论权力背后多么黑暗，罪恶都终将被揭露，正义都终将降临。最终部队以撤销对莉亚的惩罚换取了她的光荣退伍。发生了这件事后，莉亚肯定是在部队待不下去了。不过父亲却肯定了他的胆识，莉亚并没有让家族蒙羞。